So the first one is, how did you become interested in YouTube? So basically for me, I was on this show called Revenge Body with Khloe Kardashian, and that they required me I was required to film vlogs every day, which I struggled with at first. But once I started doing it, I actually got real used to it, to the point where I wanted to continue doing it, but the show ended. And I said, a way for me to continue vlogging would be to do it on YouTube. And then I started doing interviews and shit like that. So, it started because of that. It just started as me, just kind of like what I do right now, just vlog. I just wanted to vlog. Well, I think what I love about, especially the platform and the way it's set up right now, is it is very culture based when it comes to Chicano culture, because that's what I was raised in, Chicano culture. So it's definitely have a lot of that on the channel. Even the cartoon is very Chicano culture based, so so that I think that's one thing where it really you have the interviews and all of that, but I think one thing that really makes it Chicano based is the cartoon, Traviesos, the animated series. So and how I said goals, not really. I'm not really good with goals. I'm not a goal-oriented person. I just kind of like to do what I do and have fun with things. I guess the main thing for me is I just want to have fun with it. I think one of the main challenges is kind of expectations, not having expectations. So for a while I was getting, especially during the pandemic, thousands and thousands of views. The channel was cracking. I was getting a lot of interviews. And actually, that's one of the challenges is getting interviews set up. Because sometimes people say they want to do interviews, and then they'll flake last minute. So that was definitely a challenge. And also, I got used to the fact for a while where I'm gonna get thousands of views per fucking video. And when that stopped happening, I'm not gonna lie, it did kind of bother me a bit. Where it's damn, that's fucked up. No one's watching this shit. It's not much of a challenge anymore. But then I reminded myself that there are people watching it. Maybe not as many people, but there are still people who enjoy the content that I put out. And I was that's cool. So I make it for me and I make it for them. So it might not have thousands of people watching it all the time, but I have a few hundred, and I know they enjoy what I do, and I enjoy what I do. So I'm not compromising anything, So that's kind of I think that would be the main challenge that I had at first, but it's not much of a challenge anymore. I do believe in my channel. I know at times I do act silly, but then I have stuff like Mental Health Mondays and other discussions. A lot of the interviews I had, they really helped people. And so for me, it's I definitely believe in what I do. And I am not above criticism. I'm not. If somebody wants to criticize me, as long as it's constructive, a lot of the time, I'll look to see if there's any truth. Even if it's not constructive, I always look to see if there's any truth behind what they're saying. Sometimes there is. Sometimes it's just if they're oh, you're fucking weak. That's somebody's you're weak and your shit's too short or something like that. Then I'll look at the weak part. I'll throw that part out because I don't need that. But then the constructive part, I'll look at that and I'll say, okay, maybe there's something I can switch here. So I do think as most content creators should look at that constructively. The only thing that's hard is some people could be maybe sucked into it, oh shit. They can get more sucked into the negative aspect of it, and it can. But you just can't I think you have to separate that too. Also, you have to separate the two. Your YouTube channel is not you. It's a part of you. But if somebody doesn't like it, so what? It's all right, cool. People have told me. They even told me, hey, I used to watch your shit. Implying that they no longer watch it because they got bored of it or whatever. And that's cool. I ain't tripping. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. And I'm fine with that. But I think if people read the comments or look at the criticism, what they want to be wary of is not taking it too personal. I've never been much of a traditionalist, and I respect tradition, but I understand that things are going to change, right? So for things will never be the same as they were. That's never going to happen. Everything happens at a point in time. After that, it moves on. Remember back then, we used to speak down for our art. when you spoke English, that's the way it spoke. Like you spoke it differently, right? But that tradition changed. Things changed often, and I don't get too like hung up on that because I know it's a new generation now, and they're doing things differently. So no, I don't think traditions changing too soon. It always changes. Things will never be the same. I think YouTube can be a place of learning. I know some people have told me that they learned from the Mental Health Monday, especially when people share. I've actually learned a lot from the interviews, even myself. Conducting the interviews, I've learned a lot. So yeah, I think YouTube can be a very informative and educational place for sure. I do think that Mental Health Monday and a lot of the interviews did help people, and it did make them a little bit more knowledgeable on certain aspects of things. I've even had people say that they watched it to understand their significant other or their brothers or sisters, to understand what they went through. So yeah, I do think that there has been education that came out of it, and that people have learned from it. Honestly, what makes me incredible, I don't know. I would say maybe that I'm a family man. I'm not afraid to be myself, to be my authentic self. I don't really like care what other people think about me. I'm just gonna be me. The name actually comes from when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I really loved wrestling. I still do to this day. And I didn't like to have names that other people had already. Like, I didn't want to play as Hulk Hogan. I wanted to make my own character. So I made a character called Incredible Javier. And when I was on Revenge Body, I needed to put something in back of my fucking white robe. So I said, put Incredible Javier back there. And then when I started the channel, I just went with that.